Hello and welcome to an episode of DiceDaddy. My name is Bobby and I'm going to be your DiceDaddy today. Today we're going to get on a topic specifically about the fact that OP isn't a thing. It's a myth. It doesn't exist, and that's going to upset some of you, but we're going to get into it today. That being said, if you like this video, go ahead and hit like, hit subscribe, and check us out. All right, OP is a myth. Now, before we get into why it's a myth and why it's not an actual real thing, let's take a look at an example of what happens when a player asks for something that a DM just feels is entirely overpowered for their game. Hey everyone, thank you for actually joining us. I'm really excited to get started on this campaign. We're going to be starting at level 1. Level 1, and we're going to go all the way up to that epic level of level 12 that everyone loves to end at. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. I want you to all kind of be involved. We're going to talk about our different characters to make sure everyone knows what everyone's playing, so you guys can, compliment each other and joke around with each other, just to have a good old time. I'm super excited if you can't tell. So, Brad, why don't you start off there, bud? Yeah, I'm Brad. Playing a barbarian. I can punch things real good. And I'm gonna be your tank today. Oh, okay, you like to hit things. That's super original. I like that. Let me write that down. Perfect. Thanks, Brad. Excited to have you here. What about you, Snyder? What you got going on?
Hi, I'm Snyder. I'm playing the edgiest rogue you've ever seen. I'm gonna stab everyone. Stab him in the back, stab him in the front, stab him in the face.
Oh, I love edgelords. Super, super edgy. Let me just put that down. Edgelord. Yep, cool. Snyder edgelord. And what about you, Chris? What you got going on?
So my character is going to be an Aarakocra.
Really? Really? An Aarakocra. Level 1 flight.
But it's going to be on a quest for an infinite amount of arrows, just because flying and shooting stuff is just awesome.
Okay. Maybe we don't play that at all. That's a little overpowered to be able to fly at level 1. It's going to completely destroy, a lot of the combats that I've built already. And the story too, if you can fly, you could bypass a lot of traps. So why don't we just why don't you play a nice little half elf or human? Please? Anything that you'd want to play?
Can they fly? Or it's a nice day for flying, flying up, flying down, flying all around.
Now, the situation we just saw may be kind of strange, and I'm going to just put a disclaimer out there. It may not happen to you at all, but I've seen it happen at tables. I've seen players and DMs affected by the exact same conversation. Things being called OP and not being allowed in a game is just simply not true. Now, the things I'm about to talk about may or may not fit the scope of your DM, and I want to be very clear, this is just my experience. This has nothing to do with the overall balance of the game. But let's go ahead and break this down for a second. Two of the main reasons I feel that DMs call something OP is number 1, right there, it specifically does not fit in the scope of the campaign. I.e., let's say that we go back to that conversation about a character who wants to play a Aarakocra at level 1 with long-range capabilities. Maybe this campaign is taking place specifically in the Underdark. Maybe this campaign is taking specifically in an area where flight just wouldn't be an option or be viable. Maybe then you, as a DM, should take the time to explain that to the player, because they deserve an explanation that's actually valid. And that would actually help them out in the long run, choosing another class, another race that's actually going to work within the scope of your campaign. Maybe they're going to be on a train the entire time and they're never going to have to actually have the reason to fly. Now, That's number one. Number two is going to upset some people, and that's specifically lazy DMs. And I don't mean this in a wrong way or a bad way, but you have an infinite amount of resources at your hand, near infinite, that you can choose from to combat an actual flying character at level 1. This is not an OP situation. This requires research and work on your part as a DM. There are an unlimited amount of possibilities that you can actually choose from in the player's handbook, in extended materials, everywhere. The simple fact that you don't want to go and research and redo your encounters to base off of that flight, that's on you as a DM. That's not on the player, that's on you to not be lazy. Now, those are the two main reasons that I see, and I want to just talk about the third point we're going to get into, and that's why you should absolutely allow a first level character to fly. Because we need to embrace the fun and embrace the focus of the game. If you have a character that comes up with an incredible concept of flight, long range, telekinesis, psionics, whatever it may be, that player is choosing to create that character because they actually want to enjoy the game. They want that to be somewhat of a focus in combat. And you should celebrate that as a DM, not hesitate, not shy away from it. If I choose to give a player that's level 1, I give them a ring of wishes, well, that's my butt on the line, not theirs. I chose to do it and I chose to allow it in my game. Now, if you're not going to allow it, see points 1 and point 2, because that's really what it comes down to. But realistically, you should be embracing that option, that epic battle that could incur, because you do have a character that has flight. And that only leads to a better gaming value for the player and for you. Now, that being said, this is only my own experience, and there's no right or wrong way to DM. But this is what I have seen, and this is what helps me. Embrace the opportunities to make your players feel amazing. Be upfront about why something isn't going to work in the game, whether that's because you just don't have the time to redo all the combat scenarios, or it's not going to work within the scope of what you're looking for. But either which way, it's important that we be honest with our players and honest with ourselves about why something's not happening. At any point in time, you can give a player something that some people would be considered OP, maybe a 9th level spell for a first level character for a one-time use. That's not hard to balance. It simply takes time and research and effort. Now, we're going to get into balancing campaigns at a later time. That's not going to be on this video, but we will get there. But I highly recommend that if you are a DM who's hesitant about certain abilities, to research, to go out there and find out what's actually happening with that ability, why it's considered OP, when OP really isn't a thing when you, as the DM, control the entire aspect of the world. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.